Hey, my name is Alexander Kowalski and welcome to Beatport Studio Sessions. We are here in my Damage Studios in Berlin, Germany, and I'm gonna give you a little tour through my studio and the setup I'm using. And we're also gonna talk about my new album Cycles that just got released on Morg Records. And I want to show you the approach I had for the album and the equipment I used. Basically, my studio has different sectors. So first there's the synthesizer part with some nice analog and vintage gear and also my Euro rack. And then there's the drum part with drum computers and an extra mixer only for the drum machines. And then the heart of the studio is a computer, of course, with Ableton Live. And my analog mixing desk, it's a Toft ATB 16. It's a 16 channel mixer with another 16 channels inline, so that means it sums it up to 32 channels at all. And this is like the heart of the studio, and I'm using it to track down all the synthesizers and add some outboard effects on it. Then everything goes in Ableton. So I'm gonna show you around. Maybe we're gonna start with the synthesizer part. Okay, so here we have some of the synthesizers I used for the album. Let's start with the Waldorf Pulse, the old one, original one. I think I own this one since around 20 years, never left my studio. Has 3 oscillators, really cool filter, really good for like deep bass lines. But it also has a randomize function, so you can get more crazy effect sounds or something out of it. So it's really flexible, I like it a lot. Then we have a Yamaha FM synth, like the DX7. Sounds really good, but it's not so easy to program. Next one is the Roland GD990, which is basically the rack version of the really famous GD800 keyboard. Really nice for like vintage strings and chords and something like that. One of my favorite synthesizers ever, the Waldorf Microwave XT. I have the black version. What I really like about Waldorf is their wavetable sounds. This in combination with the multimode filter and the really nice user interface, so it's really easy to program your own sounds. It's pretty fast and you don't have to skip through presets too much. Nice. Then my really old Virus B. I used to tour with this, so it looks a little bit damaged, but it still works just fine. The new versions of this, they have, I think, too much effects on it, and it always sounds a little bit like trance or something. But this is an old one, and I think for me it sounds more warm and analog. Yeah. Then I have some smaller Waldorfs like the Pulse 2, Blofeld, some boutique stuff. My favorite boutique at the moment, the SH01A, which is basically SH101 but polyphonic. Then I have my Euro rack. I just started like 1 year ago, still figuring out the right configuration, but it's really inspiring. I like it a lot. And then we have the Dave Smith Pro 2. Really cool synthesizer with a really nice step sequencer. It also has wavetables, 2 filters, really flexible. Let's go over to the drums. So here we are at the drum section at the studio, new Roland Tr-909, which I use for playing live now. Really cool because finally I can put my own samples in there, so it's like having a customized 909 or whatever drum machine, really nice. Then Roland Tr-909, actually the Techno classic drum machine. I think I owned my first one when I was around 18. Roland TR505 circuit band, and really like it because it has like mute switches for the instruments. I can adjust the hi-hat decay, which is not normal. And I have this crazy option to change sound of the patterns. So it's really easy to do really freaky breaks with it. I used it quite a lot on the album. Then We have a Mackie mixer 1604, the one made in USA. Really nice, dirty sound, really basic EQ, but especially in combination with the Tr-909, it's just perfect, instant techno. Push to native instruments machine, MIDI controller. We have some hardware effects. For the production of the album, I bought some really old school kind of lo-fi effects because I wanted to recreate the sound of the early 90s techno. And then the heart of the studio again, the Toft mixer and the Adam speakers. Okay, so let's explain you a little bit my workflow and how I approach the album recording. So my goal was to create a more rough sound like techno had in the 90s. So I tried not to use that many VSTs, work more with the hardware, work with the analog mixing desk, worked with analog effects or outboard effects, and I try to make it less perfect, let's say. And usually what I do is like I put synthesizers and drum machines on the mixer, then send the audio to Ableton and then record it there and process it in Ableton, EQ it, put some effects on it. I really like sound toys. I use it a lot. I have a Universal Audio Apollo 16, so I have the Universal Audio VSTs. I use it quite a lot. And I try to keep it more basic. So we're gonna take a look at a track called And So I Watch You From Afar from the album. And this is a perfect example for my workflow because it's a combination of digital stuff, VSTs, and recordings of hardware like the 909, I think the GD 990, my Nord Rack 2, a little bit of the modular, the Waldorf XT. So let's walk you through that track and the single parts of it. So let's start with the drumming. For the kick, I used a sample I did myself with the Korg Volca kick. What I did is like I did a sample session. I connected the Volca kick to the mixing desk, did some EQing, put compression on it, and created my own samples. So I'm pretty happy with this kick. So it's kind of old school, a little bit dirty, a little bit rough. That's what I was looking for. For the bass line, I just used the operator. A pretty simple sine wave bass line. But the combination with the kick, it's for me, it's really nice. Then I used drums from the TR-505. What I did, I had an audio recording of my TR-505 and I put it in a drum rack and I sliced it. So I have like single sample shots here. Put effects on it. And what I do lately is I'm doing EQ automations, because when I have loops that are more static, I think it brings more life to the loop and to the track. Let's have a listen. So I think it sounds way more colorful than just a static loop. So I did the same thing with the claps here. I used two different claps in this track. One is more short and percussive, more dry. It's this one. can see there's also EQ movement here. And then I use the main clap. It's here. So this is a sample I already pre-processed and then put it on the mixer and put some hardware effects on it. So it has some nice reverb and delay. For the hi-hats, first of all I used a hi-hat pattern from the 909 I audio recorded. It's more in the background, it's more like filtered and in the track it's a little bit more quiet, but you can still hear it and it gives a really nice extra vibe to the track. And for the main hi-hats I used closed hi-hats from the audio recorded from the 909. Pretty simple pattern. And for the open hi-hats I used samples, and one short, one longer, so it makes a really nice groove. And this in combination with the closed hi-hats. The white cymbal I used is also audio recorded from the TR-909, running through my old Mackie mixer, so it gives it a little bit more dirt. Okay, then I also used some nice effect sounds, like this one. It's more like a sub-frequent effect. It gives a little extra to the bass line. And I used the laser sound in two versions. There's a short version and there's a longer version. Okay, and then we're coming to the main sounds. The first main sound is coming from the Surge. It's one of my favorite VSTs ever, from Vemba Audio. It's an old plugin, so it's 32-bit, and I have to use a converter to be still able to use it in Ableton 10 because it's 64-bit only. But for me this is one of the best VST synthesizers because it has normal oscillators, it has wavetable oscillators, also with Waldorf wavetables. You can adjust your C drift, it has FM, it has ring modulation, it has a little bit of everything. It has two filters, two multi-mode filters. You can do a lot of modulation, you have effects, you have inserts. For me it's one of the best and most flexible synthesizers. So let's listen to the sound. This one together with the audio recording from the GD990. I think nice combination. And then well, I sampled myself, so I did an audio recording and like a little jam with the Waldorf XT. I recorded that and then I put it into a simpler and just used the sample. And here I used the step sequencer called Live Stepper, which is basically like the step sequencer of a SH101. So like in this one. And I really like to use like polyrhythmic stuff, because like the sequence here, it's 6 steps, but I trigger it in one pattern with 10 steps, so it's always changing a little bit, and it's never just like straight 8 or 16 steps or whatever. It's let's have a listen. Yeah, that's a nice flow. I did this, I layered this sound together with Monarch from Native Instruments. Because I really like the combination of these two sounds together. Next one, this was actually a sample I used, but I put this to my modular system, tweaked it a little bit around with filters and with some LFOs and some effects, and at the end I had this. So some really nice bleeps for the background to have something in the higher frequencies. For the strings I used my Nord Rack 2 and audio recorded it. I used this in combination with another sound from the Surge. That is a pretty basic wavetable sine wave sound, and I put 2 echo boys on it. Oops. Yeah, let's have a listen. And in combination, okay, so these are the single sounds. What I do, I put everything back on the mixer. Here I have all my mixer inputs. These are the outputs from the Apollo. This is going straight into the mixer. And then I mix everything on the mixer. And I can do jams, or I can, like here I arrange the track, but some tracks I just recorded as a jam. Switching on and off the channels, and I have the effects on my aux sense here. So what I basically do when I have a arranged track like this, I jam around a little bit, and while the track is playing, I can, you know, send some reverb or delays or whatever, and so it's not that static. I really like it when there's a lot of movement in the tracks and there's a lot of small details, because it brings way more life to the track. I can show you an example. want to use the track as a loop, you know, I can just jam around with the parts. Okay, so this is basically how I work in the studio, how I use my mixer, how I record my synthesizers, and always put some VSTs on it, but the final mixing is always made on the analog mixing desk, because that's for me that's a nice flow. And I can do some little tweakments that are maybe too complicated to route in Ableton. So that's it with the video. I really hope you enjoyed the little studio tour and insight on my productions, and hope to see you soon. Bye.